Hashtag Cold Beer Sundays, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who called Eaters of the Light.
Eaters of Light.
Light. Right, that's right. Eaters of Light. Not Eaters of the Dead. This is not a Michael Crichton thing. Eaters of Light. Overall, what's your initial... We finished it maybe 5 minutes ago, enough to set up the camera and open beers. So it's still fresh in our heads. So what do you think?
I liked it. I was super entertained.
I was really, yeah.
Just the episode itself. We'll talk about the end in a little bit. But the episode itself felt very, very Doctor Who-y. Even though they're still stuck.
The Who-y! Sorry.
Even though they're still stuck on Earth, it felt like a Doctor Who episode. Yeah. You even said it kind of felt like the Viking one.
Yeah, we were talking about towards the end, because this episode's dealing with the ninth Legion of the Roman army that disappeared in Scotland during the occupation of England and Scotland. Second century. And towards the end of the episode, I kind of turned to her and I said, this feels like the Viking episode where we get a Shieldor. And not the same plot line, but it had much the same helping, I think, lack of a better term, primitive indigenous people, and helping them against the big bad monster. And so it had a kind of same feels to it. Unfortunately, nobody's going to live forever in this episode. And she won't show back up at the end of the universe and take off with the companion. That happened. It happened. It did. Overall, I thought this was a really good episode. I'm very happy with this one. Much better than the last one. Much, much better than the one at the end of the monks. I liked the upright alligator episode, the Ice Warriors. But this one was... I felt for everybody. I felt for the remainder of the Ninth Legion guys, and I felt for the Picts, and I actually had emotional connection to all of them.
Yeah. And it could also be that kind of that's our other hobby is... Yeah,
there's a lot of that.
History and dressing up like Vikings and Celts and...
Yeah, and we know a lot about that period too, so that, she's Scottish by descent, so there's a lot of that in our background and history, and so we know about all that stuff. So overall, I really liked this episode. There was a couple things that happened within the episode that I thought were really kind of funny. We were talking about this before we started. I usually try to take notes during the episode. If there's a lot of notes, the episode is shit. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 notes, so it was a good episode, right? So the Death by Scotland line that Nardole gives is like the best one I think I've heard all season.
Because the lack of sun has apparently, until they figure out it was a monster, has apparently killed the entire Ninth Legion. Yeah. And Nardole says, Death by Scotland.
It was awesome. And he's saying it to a doctor who is Scottish.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing about Nardole this episode was his outfit. Oh my god, the orange robe and the beanie, and did you notice his slippers matched his pajama bottoms?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, it was Well, we lost the light. Shit. All right, whatever. We'll go through it. The doctor also talked about in this episode having been a Roman. And now we kind of missed it in the episode. So we were trying to go back and trying to figure it out or whatever. He talked about being a second-class soldier, senator, something.
We'll probably go rewatch it and we'll
get it. Yeah. And that's big because of the whole Pompeii episode, and Peter Capaldi was...
Well, and then Rory and the whole...
Right.
That whole Ninth Legion... There's a lot of ties to Rome.
Yeah, there was a lot of ties to old Tennant and Smith doctors and stuff like that, and so that was kind of a nice little touch. The doctor stepped into the portal that actually where the monsters were coming out of, and he was in there for, he said like 2 seconds or 3 seconds, but when he came back, Nardala was sitting around the campfire, now dressed as a Pict, as an indigenous Pict with the face paint and everything, and he's like, "Oh, you've been gone for 2 days," and so they figured out this was an interdimensional portal, and that these monsters would come in and steal the light, eat the light, and that was what was killing everybody. And eventually, if they let everybody through, then they eat the sun, then they eat the stars, and they got the Romans and the Picts to come together and work together to close the portal, and then they all jumped into the portal. So it was again a spacey kind of thing, but on Earth.
Yeah. There was an alien.
There was an alien.
Or a bunch of aliens,
right.
I guess.
But the big thing on all of that was going on, they actually forced the Doctor not to go into the portal.
Yeah, and, okay, they hit him
Mm-hmm.
over the head.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I'm like, oh my god, I don't think I've ever... I don't remember a time when he's been, like, violently like,
well, he's been
know.
tied down and tortured and stuff like that, but not in when he's trying to save everyone by going into the portal and stopping all the monsters from coming through. The Picts and the Romans got together and stopped the Doctor from sacrificing himself, essentially, and then he like got hit on and like knocked unconscious or silly, and a bunch of them jumped into the portal together.
They had to... It was kind of weird, because usually you have this feeling like he knows what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Because he's been around so long and timey-wimey and shit. And so you always kind of have that feeling like he knows how this is going to end. He knows what's happening next.
Yeah.
And so when he makes a decision, you're like, oh, well, this is what's supposed to happen, because he knows.
Yeah.
And he was very adamant that he needed to go in there and do this. And they were like, no, and they forcibly stopped him from doing it. It was just kind of jarring. Almost. It was. And the other thing, too, was Bill made a point of telling him, you have another gate to protect. Yeah.
And it's like he totally forgot. And he's like, well, if I stop this from happening, the other gate will never happen.
But we find out that
Which
he
is
didn't really
where I was going
forget.
next. So they Picts and the Romans, they go into the portal closes, they close up everything so the portal can't get open. They go back to the TARDIS, which is apparently parked in Texas. And they get to the TARDIS and they go in, and Bill's talking about, Bill and Nardella are kind of getting on the Doctor a little bit about going back and taking care of the vault like he's supposed to be doing. And they pan the camera, and Missy's sitting in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be in the vault? and so the two of them are, Bill and Nardella, are like freaking out. Like, how'd you get out? How did you do that? And the Doctor's like, it's okay, I let her out. And the two of them are like, you can't do that. What are you doing?
She could just walk away.
Walk away. And what ends up kind of coming out is that the Doctor is using her as the TARDIS mechanic.
She's changing the oil.
Yeah, fixing the engine. They actually, he was like, how's the engine? She's like, you don't even like service them or anything. So they start talking to the Doctor and saying, what, she's doing chores for you now and everything? And he's like, she did save us on Mars. And so we need to at least give her a chance. So they go to commercial. Okay, Missy's on the TARDIS. Shit's going crazy. They go to commercial, they come back. And Missy's standing against one of the railings and crying.
Listening to He says something to her about, you need to learn to stop and hear the music.
Yeah.
And it's the Gaelic music from the Stones or whatever, from the Celts.
Who went into they took a minstrel in with them. Brave Sir Robin, brave Sir Robin. And so she's listening to the music, she starts crying, and Missy and the Doctor have a conversation, and the Doctor says, I think it's time for us to be friends.
Again.
again.
Because they were friends back on
Gallifrey. Right. And so Missy steps forward and the Doctor backs away from her. And then he grabs her hands and says, one of the things about hope is not knowing what's going to happen. And she says, are we really going to be friends? And he's like, I don't know, but we should try. And that's the end of the episode. And it's like, super impactful thing. And the story arc, what I thought was going to be the story arc this season, is not the story arc this season. The story arc is Missy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the connecting thing between them.
I mean, even the stuff with the monks and everything else, it's all been about the Vault and Missy. And Missy's redemption. And they even talked about in this episode how her crying is just a way, like, she even points out, it's like a way for the Doctor to lower his guard so she can plan and scheme and whatever. But I don't know. It looks like the redemption of the Master is what it looks like to me. Now, it's Moffat, fucking Moffat. It's probably some deep, dark plan, whatever.
Well, the next two episodes are the 2-part season finale.
Right.
And then the only other thing we have is the Christmas episode.
Right.
Which, if he waits until the Christmas episode I'm going to be mad.
Me too. Everything I've read said he's supposed to regenerate before the end of the season.
But we don't even know. I don't know. We don't even know who the next Doctor is. So it's all a giant.
I have a theory.
Uh-oh.
It's just completely bonkers. Okay. I have a theory.
Okay.
That John Simmons, who played Saxon Master, is going to be the new Doctor.
Oh, wow.
I know that's deep, but if you think about what they're doing with Missy / the Master and having them work on the redemption of that character and having them deal with all of the pain and all of the strife and everything they've done to remind them. It's the same thing the Doctor had to go through after killing everybody on Gallifrey in the Dalek Wars.
So here's the problem. First of all, that would be kind of like a fuck you from Moffat to the next person who's taken this over, because now you have to deal with the fact that everybody on Earth knows what he looks like,
right,
and associates him with a bad guy, and they're not going to know that he's the president of the world
unless the new showrunner, whose name I cannot remember right now, unless he asked them to go this way.
Maybe.
Because I've read some stuff. I'll be honest. I've been trying really hard not to read spoilery type stuff, especially during the season. Now, before the season started, I wanted to read some like synopsis of things that were going to happen in this season, right? But some of the things that I have read and have heard is the new showrunner is going in a completely different direction than what Moffat has done.
Wow.
And if that's happening, if you're going to go completely different direction than what Moffat did, Saxon's the fucking Doctor. John Simmons is the Doctor.
Well, I don't know, because...
And he'd be 13, and it'd be off the rails.
Because we heard the rumor that that Saxon was going to be in this season.
Right.
A while ago.
Right.
And from what I understand, they just a couple weeks ago picked the new Doctor. That's what I read online like last week. I think it was last week. They said that they've been picked. Casting has been done or whatever.
Right.
So
they probably had the person picked, and they just like 4 people know. They've done a really good job of hiding it. So overall, this episode pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was good.
Probably not the best episode of the season, but pretty close.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, really good episode. What do you guys think? We obviously really liked it, and we have all kinds of fan theories going on over here, apparently. Tell us, like this video, leave us a comment. Tell us who you think the next Doctor is. Is John Simmons as Saxon? They gotta call him Dr. Saxon or something at some point in time, right? So tell us what you think. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you're thinking of this season and this episode. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are at 79 subscribers. We're trying to get 100. And so please subscribe and share this with your friends. You can also find us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're on Instagram at Pop Culture Cult 1. And we're on Twitter at Pop_Cult1. All the links will be in the description. Please like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels and pages and panels, whatever. I'm going to go have some shots because of that way I can speak better. And until next time, get drunk now.